everybody. Today I was just going to do like a quick video, and I decided to do a how I told my parents video. And I'm just going to tell y'all how I told my parents that I was pregnant at 17 when I was in high school. Okay, so first thing y'all need to know is my dad he has a very bad temper, like very quick, short, horrible temper. Like when he gets mad, like it's bad. So yeah, like when I found out I was pregnant, I was really worried about him. And another reason, because his number one thing with me was he did not want me to have sex before marriage. That was his like number one thing. Like we talked about it all the time. Like he would have rather me been a lesbian, do drugs, drink, whatever. He just did not want me to have sex before marriage. So I was really, really worried about him. I really wasn't as worried about my mom or my mama, because they actually got pregnant when my mom got pregnant with me when she was 15 and had me. She turned 16 before she had me. And so same thing happened to my mama. Of course, she was married, actually. She got married at 15, but, she got pregnant at 15 and then turned 16 and had my mom. So they were both 16 when they had me, and my mom. So I wasn't as worried about them because they couldn't really, they were younger than me, so they couldn't really say much. But I was worried about my dad. Okay. I really didn't tell them. My whole plan, actually, when I found out, I was like, I can't tell them. I was like, I'm not going to tell them. Like, no. I was like, I am going to let them find out on their own. I'm going to try to hide it as long as I can. I will wear baggy clothes. Like, I will do anything I can. Like, I don't want to tell them. Like, I really had planned on not telling them. I was just going to let them one day, be like, Brittany, like, lift up your shirt. You look pregnant. Like, that was how I was gonna do it, I know, that's not good. That's kind of stupid, but yeah. But one day, it was a Saturday, I got really sick. It wasn't morning sickness or anything, really. I had like a stomach virus. I had like diarrhea. I was throwing up and stuff. Like I had a stomach bug. And so my mom took me to the doctor. And yeah, on the way to the doctor, I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like I knew they were gonna like know I was pregnant, and my mom was gonna find out. So I was kind of nervous and scared on the way there. Yeah, I got in there and they like drew some blood, and I think they made me pee in a cup or something. I don't really remember, but whenever the lady doctor, she was a lady or whatever, she was a girl doctor, but whenever she came back in the room, she asked my mom to step out, and my mom, just kind of looked at me, and she knew something was up. They don't just tell your parents to go out of the room because you're sick, But she knew something was up. And the lady was like, she asked me if I had sex recently or something like that, and I was like, yes. And she was like, have you had unprotected sex recently? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, well, she's like, because we tested and you're pregnant. And I was like, yeah, so I know, I'm 8 weeks. And she just kind of looked at me and she was like, you already know? And I was like, yeah, 8 weeks, whatever. And she was like, oh. She's like, well, does your mom know? And I was like, no. And she was like, okay, well, I was like, she said, you're that age to where, we don't have to tell your mom. If you don't want us to, I could, the first question she asked me, she's like, are you planning on keeping it? And I was like, definitely, like that was there wasn't a thought in my mind that I wasn't going to keep it. And she was like, okay, well, I can set you up an appointment somewhere, and we don't have to tell your mom, and, so she was like, do you want to tell her, or you just want to keep it, from her for a while? And, I was like, well, you already asked her to step out of the room, so she knows something's up. So I was like, she's going to find out sooner or later. I'll just go ahead and tell her today. And the doctor was like, well, do you want to tell her, or do you want me to tell her? And I was like, you. I was like, you tell her. Because I was so scared. I didn't know how to tell her. So she brought my mom back in the room, and she told my mom, and she quickly was like, okay, well, I'm about to step out so y'all can talk, you know. And my mom, you know, she was really upset with me, and the first person she called was her mom, my mama, you know, and I heard my mama start, like, bawling, like, over the phone, and so I kind of started crying, and I felt really bad, even though I knew everything was going to be okay. Like, I knew I was going to be there for it. I wasn't going to drop out of school or anything. I knew that everything was going to be okay, but, you know, they didn't, so, but yeah, I felt really bad, and anyway, try to wrap this up. Whenever we made it home, like later on that night, it was on Saturday, and my dad, he was at his mom's watching the football game, and Alabama won, so he was like all happy, he was in a good mood, and I felt really bad. I was like, he's in such a good mood, you know, Alabama won and all this, and I'm about to like ruin his freaking night, but so yeah, whenever he pulled up in the driveway, I quickly ran and hid. I hid in the laundry room. I was so scared. And my mom was in the kitchen, kind of like sobbing. She wasn't really crying, but she was kind of like sniffling. So anyway, he came in. He looked at my mom, and he's like, what's the matter with you? And she's like, we need to talk. And he was like, he just kind of looked. He was like, about what? And she's like, about Brittany. And as soon as she said that, he knew, like, he already knew, you know, that I was pregnant. And he got so mad. He slammed his fist down on the table. He was so mad. He started like cussing, and he was like, where's she at? Where's she at? And my mom, I guess, pointed to where I was, because he came in there, and I was like up against the wall. I was so scared. And yeah, he came in there, and he was like, he like pushed his hands like on the wall or whatever, like got in my face, and he was like, tell me you're pregnant, tell me you're pregnant. And I was just started kind of crying, and he like walked away, and he was, yeah, it was really bad. Like, he was so pissed, and he actually like went into like this bad depression afterwards. Like, for like the first 3 months, my dad did not talk to me. He did not stay at the house much. He stayed at his mom's pretty much. He was really disappointed. He even took my car and my phone away for like, it only lasted for like a week, but yeah, he took my car away, and I was so embarrassed because I was a senior in high school, and I had to get my grandmother to drop me off. And I made her drop me off like way far away from the doors, so I was just embarrassed because I had been driving for a while, and yeah. But anyway, that didn't last long. I got my phone and my car back, but yeah, for the first 3 months, he was very, very depressed and disappointed in me and pissed off, and it was really bad. But he finally like came around, and he kind of actually started getting excited, because he always wanted a boy, and I'm the only child, so he was like, well, maybe it'll be a boy, maybe I'll have me a grandson, and I'll finally have me a boy, you know. And so yeah, when I found out I was having a girl, he was like disappointed again. But yeah, it eventually gets better. So if you're young and pregnant and going through what I went through, it will get better. 'Cause now, like, he is wrapped around Bailey's finger. He freaking loves that little girl. So yeah, it gets better. And the second time I got pregnant, I was it was like just the opposite. Like, I had already been with my fiance for quite a while. We had just moved in together, actually, so it wasn't like quite as bad. I wasn't quite as nervous telling my parents the second go around, but I was still nervous because yeah, I was but it wasn't quite as bad. And it was kind of funny because my dad actually did not care the second go around. He loved my fiance, so he was actually like he wasn't that you know, he wasn't even mad. My mom was actually the one that was mad the second go around, so it was just the opposite. And he actually made a joke. He told Brandon, he was like, if it's not a boy, I'm gonna kick your ass, you know. You know, but yeah, that was my story of how I told my parents. I'll see y'all in the next video.